Cup and the league all to be won. Everyone knows there's a job to be done, and with a team so fine, I'm proud they're mine. We'll be singing this song. For we're the Boston Family Athletic, and now we are on song. For we're the Boston Family Athletic, and we'll go marching on.
The Dunfermline Athletic Former Players Association podcast is sponsored by Starnut Apparel. Affordable and stylish clothing born on the terraces. Just head to www.starnutapparel.co.uk.
Welcome to a journey down memory lane that's sure to ignite your passion for the club we all adore. This is Walking Down the Holbeath Road, the podcast that reunites us with the legends who once graced the pitch at East End Park. I'm your host, Mikey Motkiewicz, and I invite you to lace up your virtual boots as we step onto the hallowed turf of Dunfermline Athletics history. This podcast is your ultimate destination for all things Dunfermline Athletic former players, and we'll be sitting down with the heroes who made our dreams come true, scored unforgettable goals, and carved their names into the hearts of Pars supporters. In this latest episode, we speak to a local boy who would become a club legend of the 1960s, Alex Edwards. Spotted by Jock Stein, playing for his local school side at just 14, he was asked to join his boyhood heroes. Then he would make his debut at just 16 years of age, before making an impact on European stage, playing in the 6-2 famous victory against Valencia. In this podcast we hear all about his time at East End Park, memories of his teammates, winning the Scottish Cup in 1968, and then his time at Hibernian, where he would win the League Cup of 1972, becoming a club legend at Easter Road. So sit back, grab your scarf, and relax as we walk down the Holbeath Road with Alex Edwards. Alex, thanks for joining us on the latest podcast. How's life treating you?
It's a hard life. No, it's quite good, yeah. I still go and meet a lot of my teammates, but I go to East End Park quite a few times.
You're back at East End quite a bit now, eh?
Aye, I go quite a few of the games.
I'm going to start just some quick fire questions to get us warmed up. What was your favourite stadium to play in?
Easter Road.
What was your pre-match ritual or superstition? Did you have any superstitions?
Yeah, I used to be sick, make myself sick before every game. Nerves.
Were you always a nervous player?
Before the game, not once I got out.
If you had a dream football dinner party and you could invite 3 teammates throughout your career, who would you invite?
John Brownlee, Jim McLean, played centre-half a long time ago when I was a kid, and Jim Fraser.
He was a good player, wasn't he?
Big Ollie Beak. That's what they called him.
Who's your ultimate football idol?
Pele. But the person I really liked was an idol. He was a friend, and I thought he was a great player. Bertie Auld. No, I thought he was something different. Yeah, maybe folk didn't like him because he was sort of dirty, but
He was a bit of a hard player, wasn't he?
he wasn't physical hard, but he was ruthless.
Yeah.
Put it that way. He would go on the ball quite a lot.
Right, we'll start with your early life. So you were born 1946 in Dunfermline, but grew up in Rosyth. So tell us about those early days and your memories of playing and watching football.
My dad worked in the dockyard. In the days your mother never worked, and I lived in a prefab in Dollytown, Rosyth, like wee button beddings. Then I started to play with the young team at Kings Road, under 12s or something. And then I was at Park Road School, and once I left there, I went to Kings Road, and I was in this team, and we won the Fife Cup and all the Cups. Played at East End, and we won it. And big Jock Stein approached me and asked me what I'd done, where I lived. Could he come and see me? And I wouldn't believe it.
How old are you at this point?
Just turning 14. And he came, there's no like guys like Jock. He come to my house in Rosyth. My mum and dad, they couldn't believe it. So I said, what is it? Jock Stein's at the door looking for you. I said, I know, he told me. My dad said, you told me. I said, but I didn't believe you.
An amazing feeling that must have been.
Right.
Quite surreally. And you were a Dunfermline fan as a boy, weren't you?
Yeah.
So what's your memories of the Pars when you were a kid?
Oh, the guys, Charlie Dixon, wee Geordie Peebles, and my best pal, which probably made me what I was, a guy called Tommy MacDonald, wee Tam the Ranter. And I went about with him even when I left, and he was old. Oh, Tam must have been, I can't remember, 20 years. And when I went to Hibs, I used to take up the Carnmore every week and we played golf.
You worked on the Forth Bridge for years.
That's it.
Aye.
I used to,
My dad
it was
worked with
50p. And he used to
On the
pay
tools.
it to the guy. And I used to go like that, take it back and drive through. You bastard.
And what about watching games? Is there any games that stand out going to East End as a laddie?
Everton, I mind of that game.
Aye. What are you at this point? About 14, 15?
Oh, it must have been aye. I went to all games.
Right.
We used to get dropped off, walk up through Transit down at the bottom of town because we didn't have any money. And they walk up through that and into games.
And then what was it like at 14 years old? Jock Stein asked you to come and train with the club, and you're training with these guys, Charlie Dixon, Georgie Peebles,
Aye.
all your heroes. What was that like?
It was just something, you can't believe it when you first go. But then, you know yourself like football, guys get used to you. And there ain't any sort of big-headed guys nowadays, or I don't know about now, or some maybe think they're special. But nowadays, it didn't matter if it was George Peebles, Jim Carey, Charlie Dixon, Eddie Connican, they're 14, 15, and they treated you just like one of their mates.
And you're just a teenager at this point.
Why?
How did you cope training with grown men? You're just a kid still.
Aye. I was quite fit. I remember, because I was never a wee thin guy, eh? It didn't bother me. But I didn't do the full stints, you know.
You just coming in and out of training?
Well, I done it 3 nights a week. But then when I left school, I went there.
In 1961, they won the Scottish Cup for the first time. Am I right in saying Jock let you on the bus?
I was on the bus.
On the parade going down the high streets? What was that like?
It was unbelievable.
I can't imagine what that would be like as a kid, as a fan.
Then we went into the City Hotel. Not the City Hotel, the City.
The City Chambers.
Right.
So what, were you just in awe going down that high street and seeing thousands of people?
Right. Couldn't believe it.
Amazing.
There was 2 of us.
I think Willie Callaghan was on it as well. Maybe Jackie Sinclair.
Could have been me, Jake.
Because you were all the kind of similar age, weren't you? And then you signed. You signed for the club and made your debut in 1962 against the Hibs.
That's right.
And it was just 5 days after your 16th birthday. Do you remember that one?
Aye.
What's your memories that stand out for that one?
Just unbelievable, really, eh? I mean, even in those days, there were big crowds. The place was mobbed. And
were you nervous even in those days before games?
Aye.
You were just like that throughout your career.
Never changed.
And you become the youngest ever outfielder in Scottish football at that point.
No, I think Andy Penman was.
So you were one of them then?
He was at school. He lived at Kingswood School. His dad was a janitor. And I knew Andy. He would be about. But no, he's sort of record that he was definitely the youngest. It doesn't matter, does it?
No, it doesn't matter now. Do you remember what the score was on your debut?
4-0.
4-0. Do you mind who got the goals? Testing you now.
I think Jim McLean, the centre-half, got one and he never scored any.
He never in that game.
Alex Smith.
Nah. George Miller, Willie Cunningham, Harry Melrose and Bertie Payton. Got the 4 goals, aye.
Willie Cunningham, there's her name.
We'll touch on Willie Cunningham, but first I wanted to ask you about Jock Stein. So obviously,
He was unbelievable.
he was a massive influence for you. So what was he like?
He treated you as though you were someone special, you know. If you went out, if you're playing against somebody, he would say, look, you're as good as him. You're probably better than him, so don't let them give you abuse or that, eh? Big Jock tried to sign me for Celtic and they wouldn't let me go.
Did he?
No.
So when did that? Did that later on in the 60s?
Aye.
Right.
Before I went to Hibs.
It's changed days now, with clubs over contracts, and it's totally different.
Aye. Well, they worked me up bad, Dunfermline. Although I had given all that service, but...
We'll touch on that later on.
Aye.
So, Big Jock, what was it like when he come into the dressing room? Did boys just listen straight away?
Aye. He didn't say a great deal, Jock. Everything was done. And day of the game, you know yourself, you're sitting, you know, he talk a great deal. Well, I didn't there. A lot of the boys, some of them were hyper, some weren't they? And Big Jock used to come in casually and just tell you the team. And we just go like, I expect you to win the day, boys. And then they would come in 10 minutes before the game kicked off. Okay, if he's won, you're getting extra money.
And I'm right in saying your contract was different from other boys, eh? I've heard you saying that story before. The club, or certainly the board, because you were so highly thought of.
I don't know what other boys got, but I knew I was one of the highest, because it was sanctioned by a guy called Leonard Jack, the millionaire lawyer. Is it Malcolm Jack Mars? Aye, that was it, eh?
I think so, yeah.
Down in Eastport.
Aye, they're still going, are they not?
Aye.
A big one in your early days, December 62, Valencia.
Oh, aye.
You're 16-year-old. Make your debut in European football.
That's right.
What's your memories of that? The 3 games, really, but first
I
game at East
went
End.
there. I was on the plane with them, but I was only 16, and you weren't expecting to play anyway. I think Big Dan McAlinden played at outside right. Oh, they got hammered out there.
Was it 4-0, I think?
4-0.
Aye.
And then we come back here, and I think we were in the City Hotel, and me and Jackie Sinclair were sitting, and Big Jock come up and says, Alec, I'm going to play you today. And I went, nah, you're kidding me on, aren't you? Well, I didn't actually say that, but when me and Jackie Sinclair played.
You must have been very nervous that night.
Oh, aye, fucking hell.
And what was it like, the pitch? Because it was
Brick
frozen,
hard.
wasn't it?
No, it was middle of winter. We didn't get weather like that now, do we? That's what I was thinking. Did Jim McLean score in that game?
I think he did. He did, yeah. The 6-2 game, yeah.
That's right.
So you must have been buzzing coming off the pitch after that one.
Oh, aye. Oh, aye. I couldn't even go for a baby. I was too young.
I'm sure you tried, though.
No, I never took a drink till I was about 18, I think.
Right. So you behaved yourself.
I made up for it now.
And in 1965, you played in your first Scottish Cup final against Celtic.
That's right. Aye.
So what's your memories of the cup final? It's like by this point, Jock had left to go to the Hibs.
That's right.
And Wally Cunningham had taken over, hadn't he?
Aye. But Wally was a nice guy. Well, I got on well with him. Jim Herriot blew the game. And he's one of probably the best goalies I've ever played with. I think Bertie scored with a header.
He did.
He jumped the goalie and made his fucking hands. That was it.
And that season, we were close to winning the league as well, weren't we?
I think we drew with somebody or we'd have won it.
I think we drew with St Johnstone.
That was it.
If we'd won that game, we probably would have won the league.
That's what it looked like, didn't I?
So what's your memories around about that time and the guys in the dressing room? Who were you close to?
Well, you're close to all these guys, eh? Played, eh? The Calligans, John Lynn, who sold his away. Bertie Payton played. Jackie, he went to Leicester, I think.
Who were you close to? Who's your best pal?
Barry Wilson.
You still see Paddy now, obviously, at
Aye.
the games. And then the season after that, you got called up to the Scotland, the B team at that point. You played against Wales. Do you remember that?
No.
You got any memories of that time?
No, not that game.
It was a 6-0 win, you scored. You can't mind?
No, not that game.
So, we mentioned Willie Cunningham. What was he like compared to Jock Stein?
Totally different. Big Willie was a typical Irishman. He'd blew up in 2 seconds. I've seen it often. Arguing, not with players, but other folk, other teams. And he would fucking no miss them. He was a big man.
Was he good to work for, though?
Aye,
Did you like him?
Aye, I got right with. Well, he was a good guy, but you wouldn't want to fight him.
Nah. And during that time, Roy Barry comes in, Alex Ferguson comes in. The squad's always improving, isn't it?
Aye.
What was it like with these guys?
Well, Roy was a good servant, and I don't like slack. I didn't rate Fergie.
He scored a few goals, though, didn't he?
He just stood there and somebody hit off his head.
You crossed it in.
Well, little Jackie. Aye, no. I think Roy was probably at that time, he was a big, strong man.
Folk feared him, eh?
Oh, aye.
He was a tough boy.
Aye.
And then after Wally Cunningham, George Farm comes in.
That was the end of me.
What was the script with George Farm and yourself? Did you guys just not get on?
He wanted to play. He brought everybody for the Raith Rovers.
Because that's where he was previous, wasn't he?
Aye. They said to me one day, never missed a game. And he says, you're not playing on Saturday. I said, you're not playing. He says, I brought a boy for Raith Rovers, Ian Lister. And I went, you're fucking kidding me. So I went, please yourself.
Well, because you both played in the cup final, didn't you?
Aye, he scored a penalty.
He did,
Ian Lister. But I was outside the left. So I said to myself, I'm off. I'd been tapped to Leeds United, Don Revy, and other clubs.
Aye, I've got that here. There was a few clubs after you. I'll touch on to that. 68, cup final again. What's your memories of the game against the Hearts? We cruised that one, didn't we?
Aye, we cruised it. Aye.
What's your memories like the cup run? Because we beat the Lisbon Lions first round, didn't we? Or the third round, I think it was.
Aye, we did, I think. Aye. Then we had won the European Cup, Celtic, and we beat them the next time after that as well.
You're right.
So we must have had no bad side.
It was a great side back then, eh?
Aye.
Did you guys know that at the time? Because we're in Europe just about every single season as well.
Aye. You don't think of that.
No.
I don't think, well, I never.
When you compare it to now, though,
Aye.
it's night and day, isn't it?
Aye, it's just one of those things. You're probably just lucky that you've got so many players that are no bad.
We are Flow Digital Pharmacy, and we are proud to sponsor the Walking Down the Holbeath Road podcast. Our easy-to-use app is a convenient way to access your NHS prescription medication, and our team of trained pharmacists are helping thousands of people to access the support and medication they need. If you're registered with a GP who's based in England, you can use the Flow app to securely and conveniently send them NHS medication requests and arrange delivery to a location of your choice at a time that suits you. This means you can avoid the hassle of contacting your GP and making unnecessary round trips to eventually collect your prescription. Find out more at weareflow, spelled PHLO, that's weareflow.com.
What was your memories of them winning the cup and then being back in that bus going down the high street?
Oh, unbelievable. Down there, and went into the city chambers, and you had them all wanting to talk to you, and all the folk, funny duddies who would never fucking normally speak to you. So my wife came in just after, they were on the bus.
They were. Bert's got a picture of all the wives in the city chambers with the Scottish Cup.
So I said to my wife, I says, you know where I'm going, Ellie? She says, no. I says, you're going too. I said, we'll go to the Bruce.
So after the city chambers, you all went to the Bruce?
No, I was all, no, fucking halfway through there, all these silly promises and doing silly speeches. I said, Ellie, we'll go to the toilet. So fucking there, got the jacket, and so we went.
Sat in the Bruce all night.
Aye.
So you win the cup. Throughout the whole decade, you're playing regular in Europe. Is there any games that stand out? And any trips going away?
Oh, Albania. Fuck.
Did you go there?
Oh, we played in Albania.
What was that like?
Oh, poverty-stricken, never seen it in my life. The private plane went down a bit, there were 10 armed tanks round it. Whenever it landed, boop, and then, of course, we had food. They'd give us, got off the plane, they'd give us things, fucking, you couldn't eat it. And when we got off, going through, all the houses were like ramshackles. Not a thing. And the only cars was on the road was big fancy Mercedes and with red flags. And then when we got to the hotel was massive, beautiful, and kids begging,
Tough, eh? Tough seeing that.
Unbelievable. That's about the worst memories I've ever seen in football.
Quite harrowing, eh?
Aye.
You spoke about earlier clubs linked to you, so just after 68, you were linked to Leeds,
That's right.
Rangers and Celtic.
Aye.
And then, am I right in saying you went on strike?
Aye.
So what was the story about going on strike?
Well, George Farnham says it come to his attention that I was getting more money. He says, I can't have that with my players. I said, that's up to you. He says, so you'll find next week, your basic salary will be cut. I said, no. I said, I've got a contract that later. He died. That's my contract.
So the contract's then void?
So I says, well, I'll not be back. Oh, you'll be here, I think we're playing Rangers.
Right.
And I said to him, I'll not be here on Saturday. So I didn't go.
And what did you do when you went on strike? How long were you on strike for?
For quite a while. I used to train up on the hills up the back, ran up the Oakley, Carnock, right round Dunfermline, round the Deanwoods, every day. I got a phone call with Turnbull. And Hibs were a big club in the days. He said, Alex, he says, hold tight. I said, well, I had a couple of clubs after me. He said, well, we're going to sign you. He says, it's almost done. So I went and met Turnbull. What he told me, I said, right. I said, that's fair enough with me. And it was done within 2 or 3 days. And then he said to George Farm once I signed, we're in East End, he went, this club's made the biggest mistake in their life, selling me for 15 grand.
And it was all down to George Farm, really?
No.
Incredible. Before we talk about the Hibs, I wanted to ask you about the trip to America in '68. You got any memories of going out there?
You couldn't have changed that about that. Oh no, it was with Man City.
You played Man City a few times.
Every time they were in the same fucking hotels, in the same planes, and that when we went, we're just like that was good pals with. Well, I got friendly with them, and that was their drinking buddies. Franny Lee,
A legend down there,
aye, and Tony Coleman.
Right. Some good times, I'm sure.
Oh, aye, you better believe it.
And then that season, we got to the semi-final of the European Cup Winners' Cup. Do you remember that? Slovan Bratislava.
Aye,
What's your memories of that coming so close to a European Cup final?
aye. In the days, we were a bit unlucky, eh?
I think we're very unlucky, yeah. Roy says it's the biggest regret of his career.
Well, probably, aye.
Just before you leave Dunfermline, we'll round it up. 342 games for the club. Is there any games that stand out in particular?
Oh, probably my first one. And then Valencia. And then, of course, when we won the cup. That was the...
3 big ones there, eh?
Aye.
Who was the best player at the club you played with, would you say?
At East End, most skillful. There was a couple. I would say Jackie Sinclair and Alex Smith, but Alec wasn't fast. He was slow, eh? Mm-hmm. He would never have been it nowadays. But he had a lot of skill. And
he scored a few goals, didn't he?
Oh, aye, Smithy, aye. He went to Rangers, so he wasn't that bad.
Who was the best player you played against?
I played against everybody, eh?
You'd be coming up against some hard defenders, wouldn't you? In your time.
Oh, aye.
And they would kick you.
Oh, I used to, aye. I had a few of them. Oh, it's hard to tell, eh? Played it. Even with Celtic on that team, eh?
The Lisbon Lions team.
Mm-hmm. Rangers always had hard defenders as well.
Would you be coming up against Willie Johnson?
Wee bud, I knew he's a good pal.
Right.
Oh, aye. He's a great guy.
He's a good guy.
Wee bud.
Yeah. What's your memories of the old East End Park? There's one game in particular against the Celtic.
Oh, there were violence and everything.
There's a few pictures of you in the archives trying to tell fans to come down.
Is it?
Aye. What's your memories of East End by then?
Well, I was old standy.
It was the old open away end.
Aye. Just shows you how much crowds they used to get.
I think that Celtic game's recorded at about 28,000.
28,000.
And I reckon there was an extra 4,000 on top of that.
Shows you, yeah. You can't get nothing like that now.
Any funny stories from your time at Dunfermline that you can tell?
No, well, no, not really. No, the ones I couldn't tell.
Now, you played your last game, 2nd October 1971 against Aberdeen before you got the Hibs. And then you signed for the Hibs. So what's your memories? You spoke earlier about being in the boardroom at East End with Eddie Turnbull. What's your memories of when you first went to the Hibs? What was it like? What was the difference?
Like having a Rolls Royce and driving a Ford.
At the Hibs?
Aye.
Right.
The facilities and the stadium. I mean, all the folk. I mean, they had folk like doormen and everything.
And what Eddie Turnbull signed you, what was he like as a manager and as a man?
He wasn't a man. He couldn't, like a big joke, could come and put his arm around you and say, hey, you're doing well today, get stuck in again. Turnbull would blank you.
Just no man management about
No man management at all. You could ask any ex-Hib player standing and that.
Aye, Roy said the same. He said his training was brilliant. And he was good tactically, but he just couldn't deal with the players. Aye. And he had a good success at the Hibs, didn't he?
Oh, we had a place we never beat, hardly. I mean, Roy wasn't there all the time I was there.
I think it was during the end of your time at the Hibs, I think Roy had come in.
Because Turnbull had asked me, they needed a centre-half. He got injured. And he asked me about Roy. I said, Roy will not let you down, I'll tell you that. I said, but I've not seen him for a while, I don't know what he's like. But no, he come and done a good turn. And then Big George Stewart come. And then after that, I was on the slide when they all started to jump ship.
They all got signed up by big clubs down the road, didn't they?
Aye.
So you combine well with John Brownlee on the right, who's a good pal of yours.
Well, he's a good buddy, aye.
So Turnbull Tornadoes won the Dryborough Cup 3 times, 2 cup finals, and then you win the League Cup in 72. So what was that period like for you? It was just pure success for the Hibs, eh?
Aye.
It's a legendary team.
Well, that is, I mean, even now, if you go back, you think you are somebody special. And yeah, I can't believe it. I mean, if you go in, folk are fucking want to buy you a drink and, oh, could we come here? You know, want picture staying with their kids. And but Easter Road, I get a guy who owns SK Taxis. He's a pal of mine. And he had Fanatic. And Wally McHugh and Wally Lowe here in Edinburgh. They own, I don't know if you know about it, the Black Ivy Hotel.
I've heard of it, I've never been.
5-star place.
Right.
Then I'll get a phone call. You come in the day, Alec? Aye. Right, we'll get you picked up the Black Ivy, 12 o'clock. Couple of glasses of wine. Down Easter Road, he's got a private bit. Chefs, and didn't cost you nothing.
It's a different world, eh?
Aye, with Hibs, aye. They're fanatics. That's their life.
And Hibs are such a big club. People didn't probably appreciate how big the Hibs are, eh?
Aye. I mean, I'm looking at you. If you come across one day and you said, I'll let you go, and I took you went together, it's like Glen Eagles.
Right.
See the facilities? It's like walking into a 5-star hotel.
Amazing. I've not been for a few years, to be fair, at Easter Road. Do you go regular when you're not at East End?
Aye. Well, I'm not irregular, but I've been maybe 6 times this year. Well, Brownlee, they go all the time. Pat Stanton, he's, I don't know what you call him, he's one of the guys.
He's ambassador.
Is it?
Aye, club ambassador, aye. Who was in that Hibs team at that time? You mentioned Stanton, John Brownlee. Name some of the other
Blackley.
players. Blackley, who went to play for Scotland, didn't he?
Oh, aye, Blackley played, aye. And the hardest man I ever knew that played football, Eric Sherler. What a player he was.
Is he a good player,
He'd
aye?
have killed you. Fucking no kidding. And then you had the Firhill Flyer, Arthur Duncan. You put a point on there and he runs through the church.
Was he?
No braids, but he could play.
Brilliant. And Jim Herriot was
He's
at
your
the Hibs,
goalie.
eh? He was your goalie.
Aye.
Who you were with at Dunfermline.
Aye. Alan Gordon, he come centre. He was not a bad player too.
You won the Player of the Year at Hibs, 77-78. You're the top man, but then the club tells you you're free to leave. What was going on there?
I don't know. I was old. Well, I was the oldest, but Turnbull says you're one of the older players now. Like, I'm getting rid of you all.
How old are you this point? About 20, I think you're only about 30-year-old.
Aye,
Late 20s, early 30s, I think.
early 30s. Never missed a game.
Crazy. Player of the Year, and then told you can go.
Aye.
And then I read somewhere in 1978, you nearly rejoined Dunfermline.
That's right.
The club were trying to get you back. So what was the story with that one?
I did. I just went and had a meeting with them, and what they offered was I couldn't live off it.
The club were in the doldrums by this point, eh? It was nothing like the 60s.
No. So that's how I ended up going to Arbroath.
Aye, so you got up to Arbroath. You just played 9 games up there.
Oh, fuck. Aye.
What was the story up there? Did you just no fancy it?
Travelling from here, 2 nights a week to training, middle of winter, going up there on a Saturday, looking 400 or 500 folk. And then I got tapped with a top brewery to be a sales manager. I said, I can't do that. And the boy went, aye, well, Alec, he says, we'll give you a job in Edinburgh, everybody knows you. And so I went there for no long, and then he went, we'll put you in charge of Fife.
Was that Skull you were with?
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a
Skull
few pictures of...
in Carlsberg, and I done all the school cup games.
Aye, because there's a few pictures in the archives of you presenting the Man of the Match awards.
That's right. So it was all right to me. And then when I come 50, at school always said, you know, all big brewers, if you're 50 and you want to leave, we'll pay you your redundancies. So what they offered me, I went, why, fucking off.
Happy days.
So I've not worked since.
Brilliant. Did you miss football when you retired, aye? Did you ever want to go into coaching and management?
I used to coach the Oakley Boys Clubs, under 16. My son, Neil, is staying with me now. They went to the final of the Scottish Boys Club. But I think that's his cap, that one. And then Rangers, he went to Celtic. Celtic phoned me and they come through. And they started to go training at Celtic, and then they played Rangers in a cup. And I got a phone call from Rangers. Alec. I said, what is it? Neil, is it Celtic, eh? I says, aye. That way.
Who did he support as a laddie?
Dunfermline.
He was a Dunfermline boy.
Mm-hmm. So we went through, met Walter Smith and that, and did a big game, and they took Neil away. And of course, he was looking in the dressing room. And he come back and said, Dad, I'm leaving Celtic.
Just been sucked into it.
Right.
It's powerful, eh? The firm stuff.
But I got money.
Right.
I wasn't that daft.
So how long was he at Rangers?
5 years.
What did he go up to, like reserve level, or
He was in the reserves and that.
what type of player was he? Was he as good as you?
He was different. He was more of a physical guy, wing half. Quite strong, tough. But then once he left Rangers, he just got disillusioned. There were a few clubs after him, but the guy that stayed just down there, he was a leading fireman. And he asked Neil, he said, look, if you know what to play football, Neil, I'll give you a job for life. So now he's fucking leading fireman.
What's your thoughts on football today? You obviously got East End.
I enjoy it.
Home games. So.
I still enjoy it. But some of the players, they don't seem, if they're getting beat, they're getting beat. I don't know if it's because when we played, there was attitude that you didn't want to get beat. I mean, at Dunfermline, even at Hibs, see if they're getting behind, you can see that some of the players don't want the ball. They're shying away from it.
Start hiding, eh?
Aye.
What do you think of football today in terms of, like, when you played, there was the traditional, like a 4-4-2 with two wingers or what, and it's really complicated now, football, isn't it? You didn't get a traditional winger like a player like yourself.
Well, it changed. When I went Hibs, I wasn't a traditional winger. Aye. I wasn't just like Arthur Duncan. Arthur Duncan just, I'd be the pick-up between, say, John Blackley, the sweeper, Pat Stanton, the wing half. I'd go back, pick the ball up, move it from there. But Arthur was a traditional.
Finally, how would you sum up your career in football?
I had a good career. There's no about it. I can't complain. I wouldn't have changed nothing. We believe in school. But you're fortunate. I don't say it's a gift you get. You can't make a football player. Look at Willie Johnston, Willie Henderson, Jimmy Johnston, all these guys. You can't say, they're footballers. It's just something that you're natural. It's a gift. I was just maybe lucky. I didn't have to get a job.
You had the best job in the world, playing for Dunfermline.
Right, at that time. Aye.
And how would you sum up your time at Dunfermline as a player?
Aye, it was good. A lot of nice guys there, and they didn't treat me bad. I mean, they even bought me a car.
Brilliant.
To keep me.
What was the best thing about being a footballer?
He didn't work long. Well, no, he trained from 9:30 till 1:30, and then twice a week it was 3 o'clock to back at 4, just sprints. And
Well, Alex, that's the podcast wrapped up. Thanks very much for your time, and really appreciate it. Thank you for listening. Remember to subscribe to this podcast, which is available on all popular platforms such as Apple iTunes, Spotify and Google Podcasts. Thanks to our guest in this episode of Walking Down the Holbeath Road. This podcast was produced by Jan Motkiewicz and music supplied by Stuart Dusty Miller. We look forward to speaking to another former par in the next episode.